It's Rouvaun Smit time, and that means it's Cape Town racing on a Tuesday out at Kenilworth. Rouvaun, welcome to you. Good to have you on board. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Good to be back, Neil. And it's good to have racing on a Tuesday this week. We've had Mondays, we've had Tuesdays. Last week was Wednesday. Next week it's Monday again. So I think we're getting confused as to what day we're actually supposed to race on in the Cape. But as long as it's racing, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, it's an odd week. I think we've got Joburg tomorrow, Wednesday, which is unusual, and then Durban on Thursday. So it's a strange week. But as you say, as long as we got racing. Now, this 8-race program should be fairly straightforward. We've got a place accumulator that starts in race 2. The bipod will start in race 1. There's a couple of scratchings I'll inform you as we go, but let's start off with the first race, Rouvaun. And what did you like here? Because the first race is only really the first leg of the bipod for punters in the exotics, but a maiden juvenile plate. What do you say?
To be very honest with you, when I looked at the card, I didn't look at any betting. In fact, I've just opened up the betting right next door to me. And funnily enough, my first choice in the race is shortened from 15 to 10 down to 7 to 10, because I think State can record the first double of the meeting. 10 Ravensthorpe, I thought, certainly does stand out, particularly on the strength of that last run behind Mas Vigilante, who subsequently come out and won that Clover Play graduation sales race. The horse that ran third was a horse called Persistence. He's come out and run second. And I think there's a lot more to come. With that one under the belt, Richard Fourie in the saddle, I think he's certainly got a lot in his favor. And to me, he rates the horse to beat. If you are looking for a bit of cover and horses to maybe include in terms of trifectas and quartets, obviously, number 1, Al Swager is a definite inclusion. Obviously, with Anton Marcus in the saddle for Brett Crawford. Green Vigilante is another one that cannot be ignored. He lost 2 lengths, but the manner in which he finished off that race certainly tells you that there's also a lot more to come in terms of having that run under the belt. And then I found a bit of a shrewdie, which I thought this one will be in double figures, but I see the double figures were snapped up on number 5, Master of Time. But I tell you, the one thing that caught my eye was the fact that Grant van Niekerk is riding for Mike Stewart. And if you look at the jockey-trainer combination, Grant has only ridden for Mike Stewart twice, for a second and the third. And that last run was in feature company. That was that sales race on Derby Day. And now he's back in maiden company. If we look at that first run in maiden company, he finished third. So I think that certainly is a shrewdie that could make the trifectas and quartets play a little bit. But by and large, to me, all eggs in the Snape basket for both races 1 and 2. Ravensthorpe, I think, is going to be a very hard horse to beat.
Okay, so confirming you like 10, 1, and 6, eh? 10, 1, 6 in that first race.
Correct. That's in that order, correct.
Yeah, 10, 1, 6. Okay, let's move on to the second race. Now, this is the opening leg. Oh, I wanted to ask you a question, but you'd bank a 10 Ravensthorpe in your bipod, eh?
Yes, I don't think you'll miss the first 2.
Right. Okay, let's move on to race 2. And here we've got a scratching. Number 6, Lunar Light is scratched. And this is a maiden juvenile plate for fillies. Actually, there's quite a bit of form here, but you were leaning towards the Snaith double. So I assume you're going to be on 5 Quintus Light.
100%. I think Justin said Richard Fourie will record the first double of the day. And if one look at Quintus Light's form, certainly faced stronger last time out. That was in that juvenile stakes race on Met Day. Now, subsequent to that, the horses that sort of finished around Quintus Light were the likes of Ambiorix, Barcelona, Sheldon. Those all came out and ran 2nd, 3rd, and 4th in the Grade 3 Cape Nursery. Then African Rain has also subsequently come out, and that one ran 2nd next time out. And also ran last in that race was also called Treasure Run that ran 3rd. I think this horse has certainly got everything in its favor. That was a race against winners, and I think Quintus Light, for me, is going to take a power of beating. I'm not even going to look beyond Quintus Light to try and find anything to beat her.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. Quintus Light, I marked myself, not only because she's a daughter who gave me the green light out of a Cahal mare, but we do know that it was fancied earlier on and 2 good seconds. Richard Fourie, I think you're right. And that Ambiorix form line is obvious to all and sundry. If there were improvers behind, you'd probably expect number 1, Comedy of Manners, who's got blinkers first time. Also a Drakenstein stud horse. And maybe the daughter of Futura, the 3. But I'm with you, number 5, Quintus Light. Right, let's move on to race. So, Banker in the PA, obviously, that.
Banker in the PA. Funnily enough, Neil, I actually did manage to secure the Bass Robinson comments, and their comments about this horse, Greystone Pink, says the stable elect, and she looks to have a good chance of a top 3 finish. So they are expecting improvement to come as well from number 3, Grayswood Pink. In fact, if one look at that form line that she contested last time out, 2 of those horses that come out and won, Gimme That had won again, and the 3rd place horse was also called Europeana. That horse has also come out and won again. So that's come out and won. So I think they certainly expecting much improved performance from Grayswood Pink. And if our horse Quintus Light should flop the lines, I think that will be the horse to pick up the pieces.
So I wasn't going to show you. I actually took my hat off before I started. But now that we're talking about this Futura, one of the last things I did today at the sales was talk to Drakenstein Stud, funnily enough. Although this one was bred by Wilkebos Drift Maritzfontein, and they were saying, you know, that Kevin Somerville knows that I'm a big rap for Futura. So he said, before you go, Neil, here, and look what he gave me. There you go.
There we go.
Futura. So there we go. So I had it on the side there, but because I'm wearing it at the sales, but maybe it's an omen. Okay, let's move on to race 3. Now, I found this very interesting because you've got the 2, the improving 3-year-old, number 1, His Choice, is going for 4 in a row. And then you've got the year-older Irish Morning, who's won 2 of his last 3. Is it a 2-horse race, or because there's 2 scratchings? This field is cut up badly. Number 4, Speed of Night, and number 5, Spiritual Wind, are both out. So 4 and 5 is only a 5-horse field.
Honestly speaking, I'm very much in the camp of Irish Morning. In fact, if you look at His Choice, prior to him reading of his 3 hat tricks, he ran 3rd. Who did he finish behind? Irish Morning. What does he carry tomorrow? 62. What does Irish Morning carry? 58. He's got to give him 4 kilos. So to me, as far as I'm concerned, Irish Morning certainly does sort of look to be the right one. He's on the up. He's got solid recent form. He was an impressive course and distance winner last time out. So for me, Irish Morning is either going to be a banker, or if you want to double up, put in 1 and 2. Beyond that, I don't think anything else we need to discuss, because the rest, I think, are all in double figures after the 2 scratchings that have now come out.
Okay, so Rouvaun and I again in agreement. We're going through this card pretty straightforward. Number 2, Irish Morning, for me too, for reasons he explained so accurately. Race 4, Maiden Plate. Now we go around the turn here. This is a 1400-meter contest, 7 furlongs. What do you like here? Because to me, I thought Happy Aristocrat was continuing to improve, cracked a much better draw, and Grant van Niekerk keeps faith with him. Is he your first choice?
He is my first choice in the race. In fact, I've just actually refreshed this page. I see he shortened from 12 to 10 down to 7 to 10.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, at the bottom of this page, I wrote 1, 2, 3, because I thought it was as easy as 1, 2, 3 as far as the 4th race is concerned. Happy Aristocrat, obviously the first choice. Grant van Niekerk is riding so well, particularly for the Platinum Racing establishment and Andre Nel. Last time out, obviously a much improved performance. I think if there's going to be a danger, it's going to be Tara Iti or Grand Escape. Now, Tara Iti, if one looks at that last run, came from miles back to run 3rd, and that was over the course and distance, and Greg Cheen is retaining the ride. So I think if the run gets timed a little bit better and get going a little bit sooner, I think the results might be better than 3rd last time out. And then, of course, Grand Escape. Disappointing last time out, but on debut over the course and distance, I think certainly needs to be respected purely because of the fact that Anton Marcus is on board. But getting back to Tara Iti, if one looks at that last run that she ran in, that form line has been franked by both the 4th place horse Dollar Brand and the 8th place horse Bezos, also won in PE. So 2 horses have come out and franked that form line. Happy Aristocrat first choice, but I think I'm going to look for a bit of cover here, because we've gone for all the short price favorites thus far, and somewhere along the line, one of them always gets rolled.
Yeah.
And I think not to wish anything bad on anyone, but you know what? I think I'm going to stick with the way I've assessed it as 1, 2, 3 in this league.
Okay, Rouvaun with 1, 2, 3. I actually don't think the upset's going to come there. I like 1. I'm going to bank a 1. But you might be right. Statistically, somewhere something will happen, as you know. But I'm actually very bullish about Happy Aristocrat. I think it won't be in that race. The next race, on the other hand, I see that I wrote Trappy here. So let's get on to that. Race 5, maiden plate for fillies and mares. There are 9 horses go to the post. I just want to check if there's any scratchings. No changes. So race 5, Rouvaun, what did you like here?
You wrote Trappy, I wrote Banker.
What have you got? 1, Joe Loves.
Joe Loves. That to me does seem to be the standout also in this race. And in fact, funnily enough, I made a point of double checking what the Bass Robinson comments were, and it says she's ready to win, and in this field she looks our best runner on the day. She's in fact, I see, shortened from 16 to 10 down to 15 to 10. She's getting closer with each and every run. Since they fitted the blinkers and since Anthony Andrews has gotten on board, it seems like she's taken on a whole new lease of life if one looks at her recent form. I certainly think, to me, she's going to take a power of beating, particularly, and I do agree with them, for the quality of the field that she is facing. Princess of Winter, you probably can give a bit of a chance. Also, another one that's showed marked improvement since the blinkers have been fitted, and that could possibly be the danger. But you know, she has to have everything her own way by going to the front and dictating things. But to me, Joe Love will probably come and get in the closing stages. If you are looking for one that I think could upset the apple cart, and that's number 3, Fly to Rio. I mean, if you look at the jockey trainer combination, Anton Marcus has only ridden twice for Greg Inian, twice in the number 1 box. And in fact, I was sitting and thinking earlier on when I was actually going through the card, do I remember who the last horse was? Actually, you know who it was. It was Elusive Trader, where Anton Marcus timed that horse to perfection, doing back-to-back feature races during the heart of the Cape Summer season. And it's very seldom, as you saw, only 2 rides last for Greg Inian. So if you are maybe looking for one to beat, number 1, Joe's Love, then it would be Fly to Rio as far as I'm concerned. Imperial Ballet is held by Fly to Rio. So to Cape to Rio, also held by Fly to Rio. So to me, it's either Banker or you're going to have to then play wide to try and beat it.
Okay, so Rouvaun very confident with number 1, Joe Loves. The horse I liked was Cape to Rio, because Grand Finico's back on from a much better draw than when he rode her last time, and she's a 4-year-old. So I liked her just for the placings, number 5, Cape to Rio. But Rouvaun very bullish about number 1, Joe Loves, and so are the Bass Robinson Yard, saying it looks like their best bet of the day. That might be one race where I might just look to cover, maybe. Race 6, 74 handicap, because that could be you know, if there is a surprise, there will be a race 6, 74 handicap. Actually, I really like this race because I thought there's some very talented individuals here. Scratching, by the way, number 6, Alpha Papa, is scratched. And I'm very interested what you like here, Rouvaun, because I think there could be a result here. But what did you like?
Okay, I've actually narrowed it down to 4 horses. And at the bottom here, I've written 2, 3, 4, 7. And I'm going to start with my narrow first choice being number 4, Charla, purely because if one looks at that penultimate run, that penultimate run was the Work Riders versus Jockeys race.
Yes.
5 winners, 6 seconds have come out of that race.
Yeah.
Including Charla, who ran second next time out and was absolutely flying at Captain Dizzy. I think 3 or 4 more strides, Charla would have gone past Captain Dizzy. However, if you like Charla, you're going to have to like the Bull, because the Bull is now 2 kilos better off with Charla on that run behind Captain Dizzy. I also like a roughie in this race, and I think your mate, Mr. Brand, is rather going to have me tip it than Hugh. Third one off the rest, number 2, Power Grid. And I think a repeat of that last run certainly should bring Power Grid into the reckoning. Robert Carty, if one looks at that form line, the second horse, All About Al, has come out and franked that form line. So for me, as a roughie, that one certainly needs to be taken into account. And the other horse I marked was number 3, Spring Awakening, Grand Finico for the Andre Nell Yard. Third one after Arrest and third one after Gelding. I think this one should be cherry ripe for the occasion. Bit disappointing in PE last time out, but now back in more familiar territory in the Cape, and I think Spring Awakening certainly cannot be ignored. For me, that's as far as it goes. You're probably going to tell me I'm overlooking Ticket to Ride, and I'm overlooking Baltimore Jack. Again, Anton Marcus, second ride for Greg Inian on the day. Baltimore Jack, Oswald Noach for Vaughan Marshall. Also solid, consistent form. That's probably the 2 you're going to tell me I've overlooked. but I must tell you, I'm going on the strength of the form. And sometimes, and you know, my philosophy has been of late, the form book has been holding up in Cape Town.
Well, it certainly has been. And I don't need to say anything because you pointed out the two horses that I think you have left. And it is because, again, of the Marcus and Enyon combination of 2 from 2.
Correct.
I think the horse's recent runs are okay, but if I go back and see that he beat the gatekeeper at level weights by 3 lengths, if you can find that form, I'm certainly not going to leave our Ticket to Ride. But I think it's an open race. I can't fault your other selections because they've all got form. And you're right about De Bull over Charla. That's what I'm saying. I think it's actually a very nice race. If you're not even...
It's a very nice race.
Not punting.
I think it's going to be one of the highlights of the afternoon, especially with these young up-and-coming horses. And there's a couple of them that I think will probably go on to contest the forthcoming Winter Series here in Cape Town. So, yeah, very nice race.
Yeah, very nice race. I agree. Right, let's move on to the 7th race now. Interesting race because you've got the 2 fillies that carry top weight here in a 77 handicap. So Follow the Star has to shoulder 60 kilograms and Double Reward has to shoulder 59.5, and they're giving weight to colts and geldings below them, 3-year-olds. What did you think here?
You know, I'm a 3-year-old fan. And I can honestly tell you, to me, I've narrowed it down to either 4, 5, or 6 that should end up in the winner's enclosure. In fact, Captain's World and Let's Boogie Baby, those 2 renew rivalry on that Portugopian run. But 6 Let's Boogie Baby is half a kilo better off at the weight, so there's not much to choose between them. And the one sandwich between them is, of course, number 6, Six Hill Giant. Solid recent form. The penultimate run over the course and distance is the one that sort of stood out to me. And I think a repeat of that one certainly brings Six Hill Giants into the reckoning. So to me, I'm not looking beyond 4, 5, or 6 to be the victor of this race.
Okay, so Rouvaun going for the 3-year-old colts who do look well in here. They're all carrying 56 or 55 in the case of Captain's World, Six Hills Giant. For what it's worth, I quite like number 6, Let's Boogie Baby myself. He's been drawn poorly a couple of times, 7 out of 10, 7 out of 7. He's got the same kind of draw here. He's drawn 7 out of 8. Doesn't really help him. But he's run 3 times behind Night Song, and I think that's fairly good form. So
yeah, that is good.
I think he will win. But again, I wondered what was going on there with the fillies' top weights. 2,500 meters. Another
500, yeah.
Miss. But I'm certain
I've given them a complete miss, to be very honest with you.
Yeah, I see.
I think it's going to get a very tough task.
You should be okay with the 3-year-old colts there. Okay, and then on to the last race where we end off with a maiden. Scratched here, number 7, Flyover. That is out. Leaves us, therefore, with still quite a biggish field. It leaves us with a field of 14. Rouvaun, what did you like here?
Anton Marcus, Brett Crawford, first choice by far. I think it's going to take a power of beating because if one looks at that last run, he took on winners in his last start. He's now back in maiden company. He's got Marcus up. I think if one likes, I mean, I particularly like Captain's World and Let's Boogie Baby in the previous race, and he comes out of the same form line behind Warrior Bling. So
Yes.
to me, having taken on the winners, he certainly is the one that stands out in terms of his last run. Bel Punto, also good last effort. That was over 1,800 meters, now trying further. Probably the type of distance he is looking for. In fact, let me just have a look and see what the best Robinson yard had to say about that one. Bel Punto, much improved run at Durbanville. And on that run, he will have a fair each-way chance. And then, of course, on your marks, he's coming to hand now and will have an each-way chance as well, but there is not much between our 2 runners in the last. So that's the story as far as the best Robinson runners are concerned, 1 and 3. And then I think the only other one that is worth giving a mention to is number 4, Universe Boss. Improved last run, and I think we can expect a little bit more to come, and we'll appreciate the extra. Morne Van Aert very seldom rides for Brett Crawford, as you will see. So I think that one we can also expect marked improvement from going over a bit longer. So to me, I'm definitely siding with Van Gogh, and I think the horse that beats Van Gogh will win the last race on the card.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Not particularly well drawn at 11, but that was a good run in open company, in merit rated 74 handicap company. And I agree with you. Just looking at the jockey arrangements there, you'd assume that Anton would be on the choice, which is the 2. The only other one I would throw in there would be, just because it's a blinker strike, is number 6, Double Agent. I think he's much better than that recent form. And I think the Snaiths have got runners there. Let me just quickly see. 6. Yeah, he could have ridden the 9. Has the 9 got any form or not really? Anyway, so he would have ridden the 6.
No, not really.
But yeah, I think the blinkers on could help that horse. But I'm with you. Van Gogh is my first choice. So actually, Rouvaun, it doesn't look like the bookmakers have been taking a bit of a pounding recently. There were a lot of favourites at Fairview today. I know that Nino was in sparkling form again. We had a lot of excellent comments for both Nina and Nico. Because Nico chipped in with the Gavin Smith. Gavin Smith, he bumped into him at the sales on Friday and told him 2 horses, and they both romped home.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
yeah, so
Nico gave the stamp of approval.
Well, Nico didn't work the last hour and a half. He was just collecting tote tickets and thanking Gavin Smith and having a beer with Gavin. Because I think Gavin had 3 winners today. So he kept showing me how much money he'd made. So well done to Nico.
Well done to Nico, and well done to Nino as well. So, Neil, if one sort of looks at the way we've gone through the card, you could probably go banker, then the 3 horses via the 4 horses that I liked, by 3 horses, the 4, 5, and 6 in the previous race, and maybe bank at the back. That shouldn't be too expensive. 4 times 3 is 12 times 3 is 108 rand for that club.
Yeah.
If one sort of takes our selections that we've gone through the card for a place accumulator.
Bearing in mind that something normally happens somewhere, so Rouvaun's flagged that already. Just be careful, maybe, where your gut feeling lies. If you want to play a bit wider, you can, because nothing always goes according to plan, but it certainly looks like it, and Rouvaun's pretty bullish. So, Rouvaun, thanks very much. When do you race next?
If memory serves me correctly, next Monday. That's why Johan has taken a week away up in Johannesburg to be at the National getting sales. He doesn't need to rush back over the weekend. He can take his time coming home, because he's back in the hot seat next Monday. He's left me to do duty tomorrow.
Yeah, I heard rumors tell me that he was playing bridge. Well, actually, he wasn't playing bridge. He was waiting for someone to stop playing bridge in order to get some food. So I'll confirm that with somebody tomorrow. But he's about 2 or 3 meals in front. He can afford to miss one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. But good racing to everybody. It looks like a very nice car. There's some real quality racing in between, some up-and-coming 3-year-olds that I'm looking forward to seeing in action tomorrow. And of course, towards the end of the month, we start getting into the winter series, when the first leg gets run. I think it is on the 24th of April, the first leg of the winter series.
Yes.
So that's where we will get some winter feature races also kicking in to gear in Cape Town. So there's lots to look forward to over the next couple of weeks.
Rouvaun Smit in Cape Town, giving us his viewpoints on Kenilworth racing tomorrow, Tuesday.